I wanted to talk about my relationship of body to body awareness and the arising of metta and the way I try and stay aware of it. Um, and I've come to the Brahma Viharas a number of times, and it does cover everything, although there are other practices which I've done also, which have been very helpful. So I'm talking about this because I had an issue with the idea of cultivating metta. And that was a problem for me from the very beginning. I felt difficulty with not wanting to make the effort and not wanting it to appear, but just feeling like I had to make it up in some way. And like Amita Shraddha, my awareness of the body came about through breathworks, which is a business devised by Vidyamala in our order around what she knows of the Dharma, to relieve pain, physical pain, as well as mental and emotional pain. And it's a marvelous, it's helped thousands of people, but it certainly helped me. So what I became aware of through that, there's a lot of body awareness practices, is that I needed to have awareness not so much of body, but of sensations in the body. And so my practice is really awareness of sensations now. And she taught us how to start to be more aware of the tiniest sensations in the body, the little energy squiggles and releases, which until that point, I was not very body aware in any way, but moving from just experiencing, say, as I'm sitting, the more or less pressure of the buttocks against the seat as a one sensation, to being able to let myself notice the little squiggles of energy that are also there in that. So that, along with the deep relaxation I learned in breathworks and the sensation awareness, allowed some kind of an acceptance of what is, to just be present with what is. And the sensations, being aware of the miniature of sensations, allowed a more boundless sense of my body. It was as though after a while, when I'm deeper in that awareness of sensations, the sense of a container for them disappears. And I had an experience when I was still in the mid-north coast where Jodi is, in Naganaga, the women's vihara there. One day we came out of a room, the buildings are spread out around the property, and we were in one building, and we had to move to the kitchen, I think, and go onto the back veranda. And I was first. I arrived on the back veranda, and in the rafters, there was this python. They knew they had a python in the roof, and it helped keep the mice and the rats down. But I hadn't seen it in full length before. I had seen it before. I had no idea how big it was, and it was close to 2 meters. You could see it from one place and going around in the roof rafters around the corner. So you had a fair idea of how big it was. And what it was doing was shedding its skin. And I had seen before the skin left on rafters. You see it in the country sometimes, but I'd never actually seen how it happened. And here was this snake shedding its skin, and the beautiful diamond pattern underneath that skin was coming through. And it was like a wonderful, gentle, slow, energized, aware movement that the snake was making as it rubbed itself and moved itself between the roof and the rafters to dislodge this skin. It seemed to be a very big teaching at the time. I was absolutely mesmerized by it, as were the others when they came out of the room. And we wondered later together about how it would be if we shed that boundaryness of our outer being every circle of the year or every circle of seasons. And what I've experienced now more when I am more body aware is losing that sense of a boundary, of a container. I think in the breathworks, it also brought a more visceral sense of kindness towards myself. That's very much emphasized in approaching that which we have aversion to, which might be like pain in the body. So it allowed me to be more of a witness, a present, kind witness to what is uncomfortable in experience. And I have to say as well that I had the opportunity to use a Gestalt therapist, her services for about 2.5 years. Once I was much more aware of myself, I could see that turning towards pain in the world and pain in myself, I couldn't do it towards the world realistically if I didn't turn towards my own pain and suffering, the trauma that I carry. So this therapist helped me see that it wasn't my failures or my fault that I carried a sense of not having been able to cope in particular times in my life. And because I had the Dharma, I could let go of the therapy after a while, having seen that and letting go of my sense of failure, which was a very big shift for me. I then could see that suffering is universal and the way things are. And that from that point on, I was better able to respond to how it is for others as well as myself. So I think the second area, apart from the sensation awareness that's been such a help to me in relation to the Brahma Viharas, is like Amita Shraddha, and I know a number of others of you that I recognize were on the retreat with Tejananda. And up until then, I was still in the situation of metta was easier for me to be aware of now, but I still often had a sense that I needed to be doing the job of cultivating it. And I felt inadequate to that job. And Tejananda came through to me with this radiance of metta, this all-pervading, unconditioned love, which is the nature of reality. I'd already been able to get some tiny glimpses occasionally of an expansive reality that was different from this one. But the flavor of it never came through. And then I got this radiance of metta and imbuing my experience and everybody's experience, if only we can be open to it and aware of it. So I could switch from cultivating at that point. And my feeling is a bit like we're stars catching the light of an all-radiant metta sun. And this star radiance adds to the luminosity of other stars in an array of light. And it's our mutuality in this process of being receptive to metta in our experience and our experience of other that's essential. The mutuality. So it's like being a witness to metta. It's completely changed my way of enjoying presence with myself and other. And the main thing is I need to just keep staying aware of it. And certainly it's very weighty being in the world at the moment, and being an aware person in the world, wanting to know what is actually going on and keep on facing it. And I think it's my meditation of full-length prostrations at the shrine each day. And I've recently taken up chanting, a bodhisattva chant, just as I move around under my breath. I find I can even do it when I'm kind of dozing, just as before I'm waking. And that's really bringing much more of this radiant sense of metta present. And gratitude to my teachers is a constant kind of heartwarming activity that helps to keep that going. I'm left with a working ground around empathy. Sometimes I know there's some attachment in there about how I need to alleviate suffering. There's still that clinging sense, rather than that metta goes out and radiates wherever to the compassion, to bring about compassion. And I get myself in trouble with that a bit, taking on other people's negative mental states or whatever. And so I'm still working on that, old habits. Thank you, but that's where I am right now.